My name's Ken Longworth. I was actually the first person on stage in a Newcastle University College Revue. The review in 1958 was called Abandoned Hope, and I was cast as a technical college student because in those days the university college was sort of harbored, that's probably the right word, but harbored in the buildings of the Newcastle Technical College at Tyers Hill, pending the establishment of a full university somewhere else in the city. I went along. I was actually the only person in my year. I was a first year university art student, and I think everybody else was horribly studious. And I was the only one in my year that went along to audition. And I found myself in sort of, yes, all six. I sat there very quietly. I was this little meek and mild, just turned 17-year-old, and I think they sort of thought, oh, this poor kid, this kid's a natural for all the gonzo roles. So next thing I knew, I was cast as the first person to go on stage. I was a technical college student who suddenly found myself pushed on stage, and then somebody else came out and confronted me and said, who are you, sort of thing, and he was a university person, very academic, and because I was very like this, you know, oh, I don't want to really be here, I just want to mend some pipes, which I didn't use that line, I'm just here to mend some pipes, and so I ended up sort of being told, yes, you're going to be in a review, it's marvellous, you know, that sort of thing, and oh, that sounds great, I'll try it. So then in this song, I'm just a technical barbarian, but don't want to put me in review. I don't like the arty types. Anyway, it's on the records, but yeah. So I mean, that was my claim to fame. The funny thing was, I had to come on stage at the start of the review. I mean, they had the band play the overture, and then they opened the curtains, and the audience is sitting there wondering what the hell's going to happen. And then suddenly this poor screaming person's pushed on stage, and the thing was, of course, that every night I had to be pushed on stage. It was absolutely terrifying, being the sort of the first person on stage in a theatre full of 500 people, expecting that they're going to, be laughing their heads off from the first moment. I think my scream actually started laughing, so that was probably my claim to fame. The second year I was in the reviews, I actually got the courage to write a sketch. I sat in the University College Library for a few hours one day and just sort of went through the text of Tennessee Williams' play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And I just reversed the sexes and of the dominant characters, etc., and the weak characters. And there had been a film version out recently, which is one of the reasons I went for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And I called Sex Kitten in a Coal Tin Bath. Because at that stage, Brigitte Bardot was a big name, and she was the French sex kitten in films. And so I actually brought in this character, this very sexy character who came in with just a towel around her and sits in a bath, and because the audience expects that somewhere along the way they're going to see the sex kitten stand up without anything on. And well, she did stand up. I'm not going to tell you what they saw. I mean, it was great fun. The only trouble was that the bloody director of the show decided that I was going to play little Popper in the original play. The father of this southern United States family is the very dominant, bossy character, but I made the mother, who was played by Maggie McDermott, who was later commemorated at the university with the Margaret Bowman building. That's her married name. She played Mama, and she was big whopper, and I was little Popper, and I had been bullied around by, and I was like everyone else, lusting after the sex kitten in the coal tin bath, because I didn't get it, did I? But it was great fun, and the following year I actually wrote a couple of sketches, and I actually directed them, and they were fun things, but they just didn't work, and we had that third review. We just had to sort of pull out not just my sketches, but a couple of others at the last minute. They put in a shortened version of a melodrama. But the following year I was actually at the Teachers College doing my bed year for the fourth review, and I wrote a couple of sketches. I thought, no, I'm not going to. Someone else can direct them. I'm not going to have anything to do with them. So again, I went back to sort of the movies for one of them. There was the two. I thought, what are the two biggest box office films of the past year? And they were Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho and a Disney film, Pollyanna, which were completely opposite poles. So I combined the stories of Pollyanna and Psycho and came up with a sketch called Sicko. And it was one of the big successes of the review. Very, very funny. My other sketch was called Carry On Coal Trimmer. That was at a time when there was a very popular British series of very lowbrow comedies called the Carry On films. And at the same time, Newcastle was having problems with the state government, which always seems to do this sort of thing to poor old Newcastle. The state government hadn't spent a lot of money on dredging, and coal ships were getting stuck on mud banks in the port, and they had to. And so I wrote this sketch where we had all these politicians, the Lord Mayor of Newcastle, first of all, then the Premier of New South Wales, and the Prime Minister coming on board, and of course absolutely waffling on and doing nothing. And we had the coal trimmers trying to pick off the coal and dump it into barges. It was quite funny, not a big success. So, and then the year after that I was out in the working world, and that was the end of, unfortunately, the end of my sketch writing time. But I just had a lovely time. I mean, when I was in first year, going in confidence, I was felt a bit like a fish out of water at uni, and being involved in the reviews just gave me a hell of a boost, and it just set me on my way. And I just loved it, absolutely loved it. So that's my story of reviews. Thank you. Ken Longworth again. I must admit that I'd forgotten to say that you won't find the name Ken Longworth on any of the review material, old sketch copies or programs, because I was nicknamed Molesworth at university, a very, very long and involved story. Everyone called me Molesworth, so I went by the name Molesworth. So Molesworth is actually Ken Longworth, but everyone still remembers me as Molesworth, so that's it. And I also made a mistake of being talking about Sicko earlier. That sketch of mine with the Hitchcock plot was Loco, not Sicko. So yeah, I thought I'd better get that record straight. Okay. Thank you very much.